welcome back to today's video. This video is going to be pretty lengthy and chatty. Also, sorry for my voice. I have a cough. My allergies have been really acting up on me, so I apologize. I figured to start off this video, I had a request to show me budgeting basically from beginning to end, and then showing actuals, obviously. So I figured I'd start it off by showing you our monthly budget and kind of explaining how I do things. So this is our March budget because these two paychecks cover all of our bills and pretty much all of our expenses for March, except for the last paycheck. Then will carry us over to the next month, and we roll that over to the next month and include that in the next month's budget. So we do have one bill at the very end of March that I just kind of consider an April bill, and that's this car and renter's insurance. It comes out on the very last day of the month. So the way our budget kind of works is that my husband's hours vary a lot. So what I try to do is really this one right here, the $1,073.47. I usually will budget that for each paycheck because that's kind of the least amount that we can expect that his paycheck will be, and then we can budget from there. That way we're not expecting a higher amount of money and then being let down and then trying to make it up in other places. We're just already expecting a low amount of money. So that's how we like to do it. As you can see, between these two numbers, since we've already had this budget passed, there was quite a big pleasant increase in this one. So that's typically how it goes. Or we're pretty much spot on. We've never been under this, so I'm comfortable there. And then I don't fill in any of these actuals until the very end of the month, until the last day. So the last day of this budget will be March 25th, and then I will come in that day and fill all the rest of this in on what we actually spent on our bills, spent in our envelopes, and actually ended up stuffing in our sinking funds. I don't write the current balance. I write what we actually stuffed. Whether or not we spent that in the month, that's here and there. Same with debt down here. And you know how it goes with debt right now. We really want to pay off our debt, but just paying on our debt is what's important to us, because what's really, really important to us is that we start building some sort of savings. So we'd like to get a little bit of money into savings before we really, really start paying down on our debt. That's just personal preference. Everybody's different, and some say that's smart and some say that's not, but that's what we feel comfortable doing. Okay, moving on to actually budgeting this coming paycheck. Okay, so the way that I'm just going to start writing everything out because it takes me a while. I would like to use those stickers. Everybody who makes stickers is so talented, and they're always lovely, and they make your budgeting so pretty. And if that keeps you on track, more power to you. It's just, we can't be spending, or we could spend that money on stickers every single month, but I would rather spend that money on other things. So unfortunately, we don't do the sticker thing. I just try to make my handwriting nice. I use highlighters. Occasionally, I'll use like a little smiley face sticker or a star sticker, here and there to make it pretty. But whatever will keep you on track, do it. So this is just me. I'm going to start writing everything out. Since we don't have stickers that have it written out for us, it does take me a little bit longer. But the way it works out for us is that when our checking account gets down to $300, or like my husband can see what his paycheck is going to be the Tuesday night before he gets paid on the Friday. So then usually that weekend, or when our account gets down to $300, I will make our budgeted, like predicted income budget. That way we know, do we need to be conservative with this $300 or are we on track with our budget kind of thing. So I'll just keep writing stuff out. It's hard to multitask doing this. We're on paycheck number 2, budget. Which is from March 12th to March 25th. And that's just kind of how I like to do it. That helps me know, these are the days that we're using this budget for. And then I'm gonna go in with my little, I got a pack of, 8 highlighters, maybe even more, just different colored highlighters to make it pretty, sort of, anyway. Also, usually I use an erasable pen, but mine was running out of ink, so hopefully I don't make any mistakes. Okay, moving on to the actual I just said hopefully I don't make any mistakes, and then I did. The actual income. Okay, so we're gonna have the March 12th paycheck, and then anything extra, so any rollover from our account that's predicted, or anything we sell, or if I were to ever become monetized on YouTube, that money would go in this extra category. So then I just put a B because I get tired of writing out budgeted. And as you saw from our monthly budget, I budgeted $1,073.47. That's right. And 47 cents. Okay. And then for extra, I typically like to budget nothing. I feel like that's safe for us. And then I will come over here and put an A for my actual, and then I like to do if we're in the positive or in the negative from what his predicted paycheck is. And then when we know his paycheck amount, I will come in and fill in the actual amounts. Okay, moving on to expenses. And then I do a budgeted column here and an actual column next to it. And I always write out every single one of our expenses, which is bills, in my opinion. That's what expenses are. I know some people split them up and only write out the ones that they are paying on this check. This is just visual for me. I really like doing it this way because I know that rent has already been paid, and then I get to put a nice little zero there. Spotify, also been paid. So there's that. Then we have electric, internet, and I try to have these written down in the order of them being due. So from first of the month to last of the month. After internet, we have phone. Then we have Cove, which is our alarm system. Then we have city, gas, diapers, Canva, and car/rent, hers insurance, which has also already been paid because that was paid with the last check, with these first 2 to 3 bills. It sometimes depends. Depends on when my husband's second check is going to come in. whether or not internet is paid on the second check or the first check of the month. Electric, if you saw my last budgeting video, so paycheck number 1 for March should have been paid, and it just wasn't. We weren't on top of it. And also I was recalling the wrong amount for that one, because it actually, I believe I budgeted only $100 for that, and we got the bill and it was $128. So here, if I already have the bill and I know the amount, what it's going to be, I put it in, even if we don't know what my husband's paycheck is actually going to be. So that's how I like to do that. I usually budget $85 for our internet, and that's going to actually be $76. Phone is always $23. Cove is always $36. The city, I had budgeted $100 and it was only $83. Gas, I had budgeted $120 and it was actually $190. So that was a bit of a shocker. Diapers, we don't need this month. So I had budgeted $75, which I'll just put that in here. But thankfully, we have a diaper subscription service and we have an entire box, and we're already in the middle of March and we won't need any until the middle of April probably. And then Canva is always $13. And then this is $0. But if you're wondering amounts, our rent is $650, Spotify is $11, and car and renter's insurance is $42. So there's those amounts. They were just already paid. So I can go ahead and total these up. Now I'm going to go ahead and add up our budgeted amount here. 100 plus 85 plus 23 plus 36 plus 100 plus 120 plus 75 plus 13, 552. And then instead of having to go back through and resubtract everything, every single section, I do a what's left over. So now I take this 552 and subtract it from this 1073.47. So I'll just go ahead and do that. That leaves us with $521.47 too. I typically don't do anything with the cents. They just stay in our checking account and hopefully rack up some dollars that way. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move this up. And the next section that we have is envelopes. And we do budgeted and an actual. And the first one we have is God's Guap. This is our giving envelope. We don't always tithe to a church. Sometimes we give money to specific people, missionaries. Sometimes we pay money forward at the grocery store, just different ways to bless people. I don't always think, while it is important to give to your church, I don't always think that is the best avenue for all of the money that we have to give. So that's just our specific thinking. And then for this envelope, no matter what, it's 10% of this budgeted amount check. And an easy way to do 10% of any number is you just move your decimal one place to the left. So that gives us $107 to put into this envelope. And then we have groceries, gas, and my husband's name is Caleb, and he has an envelope Typically, he spends this money at work on food or snacks or drinks or whatever, or he is welcome to spend it on whatever, but he typically saves it and spends it at work. For groceries, I did $200. Since each paycheck has to stretch us over 2 weeks, we do $100 per week for groceries. For gas, I did $100. I don't really usually go anywhere during the week. My husband's only really driving back and forth to work, so $50 a week for gas typically does us. And then $50 for my husband, $25 for each week. So what is this? We can do this in our heads here. 200, 300, 457. Yeah, that's right. And then here I do wait to put actual amounts, because if his check for some reason is lower than that, and we still need to pay all these bills, it's still going to be that amount, and we don't have enough left over to cover this amount, then I have to go back in and do some work on these numbers, lower them or trade them around, you know what I mean. So that's why I don't put an actual in until we know what his paycheck is going to be for sure. So I'll do a left category, and then what I do is I take that $521 that was left over and subtract the $457, which leaves us with $64. And for debt, I do a budgeted and an actual, and I'm just going to put all debt here. And unfortunately, we're going to budget $0 since we only have $64 left, and I had said that our savings is a priority. I'm going to go ahead and allocate that $64 into our sinking funds. And so here, since I know our total is $0, I'm just going to go ahead and do the leftover category. And it's still going to be $64. Then I'll move this back down, and I like to put our sinking funds right over here next to our expenses. So then I go in and write down all of our sinking funds. And I do a budgeted and an actual for this as well. Because as much as we would like to always be able to put in what we want to, it just usually doesn't happen. Or sometimes we're able to put more in than we thought we were going to be able to, which is always, always, always a blessing. Cushion, that would typically stay in the bank, but with us, we are swipe happy, so if that stays in the bank, it will be spent no matter what. It typically is, but we're able to hold on to it in cash for a little bit longer, maybe a few more days if it's not in our bank account. Okay. And that is all of our sinking funds. Ooh. And now I will go ahead and start putting in numbers for our sinking fund. So what I typically do is I will put on the calculator our remaining amount, and then I will go through and do the very important ones first. So to us, our daughter JC, this envelope is for anything she could want or need. So that's always $20. We try to do that one no matter what. That leaves us with $44. Her savings, savings to us. Like we said, we're trying to build up some savings. Her savings, we try to always do, no matter what, $20. At least it's with $24. So here's where it gets a little funky, because clearly we have a ton of sinking funds left and not a ton of money. So then I just try to pick our highest priority. Retirement, I try to do 25 per month for my husband and I, so we each get 25, so together it's 50. And then our savings, I try to do $30 each time when we can. So here, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and do 20 for our savings and 4 in our cushion and none for the rest of these. And especially being low income, this can get kind of heartbreaking, I'm not gonna lie. But I could split up these 20s if I wanted to, or here, let me just do this up really quick. And that brings us to 0. I could spread out these 20s if I wanted to, but this is the last time I'll say it. Savings is just really important to us right now, and so we're trying to really build those up, and that's what we feel like is most important. So we're gonna go ahead and come over here. Well, technically this is $64.47 left, so that's what brings us to, sorry, I don't know why the notebook got turned like that. And we'll do a leftover category here. And this is where I know if we're in the positive or if we've gone over budget somewhere. And what ends up being left over is 47 cents. So now I'm gonna go back in with my highlighters, and I'm gonna, this in is not very pretty, but that's okay, and just kind of mark this up, highlight the section headers so I know what's what. See, and this one down here, debt. And then if we had gone over budget, I highlight this leftover category right here in orange. But since we are okay, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this whole thing green, which makes me happy. I do not like seeing that orange and trying to have to fudge around some numbers, Okay, and then this is just another visual aid for me. I like to highlight the bills that we pay with this paycheck. Even though the other ones say 0, it's just a really nice little visual here. And then once I pay them, I will come back in and do a little check mark beside each one. Okay, and tonight is Tuesday, so once my husband lets me know what checks his account and lets me know what his paycheck actually will be, I will be back to film the actuals and fill in the hopefully fun numbers with you. I'll be back. Alright guys, it is the next night and I am back, and my husband told me that his paycheck is going to be, hold on, let me get my arm around here, $1,271. And then I'm still budgeting nothing for extra. Just don't want to get our hopes up or anything. So then what I do is I take our calculator, trying to find a good spot here, and I take the 1,271 and I subtract the 1,073.47 from it. I'm sure there was cents on this paycheck, he just didn't tell me what they were, so that's fine. But this is an increase of $197.53. And that'll be our total. Okay. Now for the fun part of adding up our bills for the actual. So I will go ahead and add 128 plus 76 plus 23 plus 36 plus 83. Did I do that right? 128 plus 190 plus 13. All right. Sometimes I don't trust myself, but you know, the calculator can't lie. I got the numbers in it, right? Okay. So, moving on. That's not even sure how that came out. Less than my budgeted because, yeah, weird how things work out. It's that 75 that was able to disperse, so that was a huge blessing. Okay, we're gonna figure out our leftover the same way. I'm gonna subtract this number from the actual paycheck number, the 1,271, which gives us $722 to work with. Okay, I'll move this up. And here we're gonna go ahead and with this 107 since that was 10% of this budgeted amount. Groceries, you know, we've kind of been going over, so I'm gonna go ahead and do 220 for the next 2 weeks. Gas, my daughter JC and I are still visiting my parents, so we're gonna need some gas to get all the way back home. It's a really long drive, so I'm just gonna up that to 150 since we have the funds. And then here I'm still gonna do 50 for this, and this is not just a number that I decided on. My husband and I talked about it together. He's fine with it. He said he doesn't need it upped, so we're just gonna work with that for now. And can I still add these in my head? Let's see. So we're still, let's see, can I? 200, 400, 527. Let's see if I did that right. Check myself with a calculator this time. So 107 plus 220 plus 150 plus 50. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 527 from 722, and that leaves us with $195, which is amazing. Especially amazing compared to what this was left over. So, it probably would be nice to see me add some more to this debt, but I'm still gonna do a 0. I would really just like to get our sinking funds, you know, kind of start working their way up. We tend to spend those since that's our, you know, at least it's allocated. We're not just swiping our debit card, but you know, we tend to spend those because that's kind of our extra money during the month, you know. Okay, now comes the fun part of trying to decide how much is going to go into each sinking fund. So, as I said, I like to put the remaining amount on the calculator. And I am going to go ahead and do 20 here, 20 here, and our usual 30 here. So we'll go ahead and subtract those on the calculator. So minus 20, minus 20, minus 30. And then I'm going to move on down to retirement and do 25. So go ahead and subtract that. And then this is where it gets kind of hairy. You know, we are going to be traveling back home, so I'm going to go ahead and do 25 in travel. And then I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the $25 we had in our emergency fund, we took out so that my husband could make it back home to go back to work, and he's gonna come back to get it. You know, it is what it is, you know. Now I'm just debating. We only have $50 left, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sinking funds left. You know, we had kind of decided that we would try to fully fund these 2 sinking funds with our tax refund money. We don't know what that's come out to, but until we do know, I'm just gonna go ahead and cross those 2 off, and I believe that brings us down to 5 sinking funds left to stuff. It does. And so, you know what? I'm gonna make this easy and just do $10 in each one that is left. And I'll go through and subtract each of these 10s. Make sure that we're on track here. Did I already do the minus? And that brings us to 0. So our total is $195, and that leaves us with probably some cents, but again, he didn't tell me what those were on his check, so I don't know. And I'm going to go ahead, since this is not a negative number, I'm going to go ahead and highlight it green. And that is kind of how I budget from beginning to end, you know, our budgeted amounts, our actual amounts, how we do that. Before, we were just taking out our sinking fund money, but I think we're going to start taking out... Oh, and we were taking out God's Glop and my husband's money as well. But now we're going to start taking out our groceries. We're going to go ahead and leave our gas in the account because we're going to start using a rewards credit card to build our credit, and you get points back for gas. So if we leave that in our account, we can just go ahead and pay that back right away, no matter what. So I know that seems like a bad idea. It's a really good plan for us. It's a prepaid debit credit card. Not a debit card, it's an actual credit card, but you know, you use it like a debit card, so because you pay the money for it. So we're gonna do it that way, but I thought I would show you guys kind of how I do my denominations as well, and then that will end out this video. Okay, so I just write the bills or the amounts on this side. Probably don't need the S's. I don't know why I feel the need to do it, but I do. Okay. For God's Glop, I'm gonna do 2 50s, a 5, and 6 and 7. For groceries, I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 hundreds and 2 10s. For my husband, I'm gonna do 2 20s and 2 5s. And then moving on to sinking funds, since this is a 20 and I like to have as big of bills in there as possible, I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. Another 20. For 30, I'm gonna do a 20 and a 10, and then obviously a 10 for that. For 25, a 20 and a 5. I'm getting off track here. I think I'm on the next 25. So 20 and a 5 again. Then a 10. And then another 10. Another 10. A 20 and a 5. And a 10. And then I just total these. So there's 2. There's 2. There's 5, 6, 7, 8 20s. There's 8 10s. There's 6 5s and 2 1s. And I go to the bank and I say that I need to get some change out I will actually write the total on the bottom here, circle it, and or some cash out. Wait, that's not the total. Silly me. But I'll write the total on the bottom, circle it, and tell them that they usually ask how you want it, and I'll tell them that I wrote it down, and they're like, perfect, and I just put it in the little thing, they take it, and then they give it to me back this way. So that's kind of how I do things. I will be filming a cash stuffing video, and that should be up on Saturday or Sunday, so be watching for that. Thank you for powering through this really chatty, really long budget with me video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.